We got him. The most electrifying man in boxing, boy, Blair Cobbs, the Flair, baby. How are you?
Look at the $1 million smile.
Look at that, man.
The $1 million smile. He's always happy. He's always in a good mood, man.
Always in a good mood.
Give it
as
to me.
As
Woo!
my hair is looking good, I'm good, baby.
That's it, man. He's electrifying, guys. All right, so Blair Cobbs is going to fight on June 19th. He's fighting Brad Solomon, correct? Brad Solomon?
Absolutely. We got a nice victim, a beautiful, nice victim. He's going to give a very big show. He's very smart, very tactical. He's going to try to outbox a very good boxer in Blair the Flair.
You know, what goes through your mind? Because, you know, this guy has got more fights now. What is he? He's like got double the fights. I mean, so he's got like 32 pro fights. And so like this is not like a cakewalk for you. This is a tough guy.
Well,
you know,
that's what they say. They say that this guy's going to give Blair the Flair the run for his money. And I hope the betting odds is in his favor. I can bet on myself and get all the money.
Now, you've been off for a little over a year, but a year and some change, you know. So like, how do you keep busy through this whole time? I mean, what have you been doing through the whole year and everything like that? Just training, or have you been, how does this whole thing work? Being off a year is a long time, especially for a young fighter like yourself. And then you come back against a guy like this, who's not a cupcake, man. This is a tough guy, you know?
Well, what I've been doing is just training. I've been training very, very hard. I've been in a Wildcard gym training and sparring some of the elite professional boxers at the highest level possible. And it's been wonderful. It's been a hell of a lot of experience getting in there and having a very organized training camp with Freddie Roach leading the way. And it's just been one hell of a roller coaster, especially outside the ring. Outside the ring, I went through a whole lot of adversity. I went through ups and downs and relationships, ups and downs, and like how I just my lifestyle in general. And I bounced back. One thing that I know for sure is that I'm good at persevering through any and every obstacle possible. So when it comes to this fight, I look forward to having a good fight and also coming up victorious. Why? Because I already know what it means to persevere and win. Get through it, and win.
Gotcha. You know, so on this fight right here against Brad Solomon, I know you've seen him fight before. Is there a lot of pressure on you to not only win, but to win big? I mean, in impressive fashion, whether it's knockout or completely whitewashing this guy, is there a lot of pressure on you? Do you put a lot of pressure on yourself when it comes to stuff like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I'm the most excited man in boxing, and the most excited man in boxing cannot have a dull fight against a guy named Brad Solomon. So I have to go in there and just be flashy, flamboyant, but also show people charisma, technique, and dedication to the sport. It's going to be interesting. That's the one thing that I know for sure, is that it's going to be very interesting trying to create drama in a fighter like Brad Solomon that is very defensive. It's going to be very hard to pull him into a fight, to draw him into a fight, and I have to go out there and put pressure, but I have to do it intelligently. Right. So I'm scared that I might show too much techniques, too much abilities and gifts. See, the thing is, nobody knows how good I am. And I like that. I like that, because it gives me the opportunities that most people don't. Nobody wants to fight a fighter that they know that they're going to lose against. Nobody, it's just one of those times. We live in a day and age where people are afraid more of losing their undefeated record than actually putting on a performance and giving it all they got. It is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to not only win, but look good doing it.
Now, a lot of fighters, they will say, like, my job is to go in there and just fight the fights, but it's kind of more than that. It's about having a good image, good personality, making people interested in you. And no one really does it in boxing right now as good as you in terms of the young guys. I have to give you credit for that. How important is that to make people want to see you, not just by your boxing ability, but also your personality, the way you carry yourself. You have a very engaging way about you, and you draw people to you because of that. Talk about that and how important is that?
It is incredibly important. Me, Blair the Flair, the most exciting man in boxing, that does the Blair the Flair, woo, all day, every day, nonstop, anytime, anywhere, Blair. Well, the whole idea is to inspire. If you're not inspiring people to watch these fights, if you're not inspiring, if you're not an inspiration to somebody's heart, to just, even the imagination of man. If you're not inspiring in the imagination, boxing is not really going anywhere. It just makes it to a point where we're just sitting here waiting for another megastar. Blair the Flair looks forward to becoming the next megastar. We had Floyd Mayweather, we had Manny Pacquiao, and then after that, nothing. It's no one's really that inspired to see Errol Spence. I mean, the toughest thing he ever said was, "You fight like you're swimming." It's just not inspirational, And then you have somebody like Blair the Flair that's just much more like a Muhammad Ali. Life in boxing wasn't that great until you had great people that rise above the class, that did more than just become a great boxer, but transcended the sport. And that's what we need. We need exciting people that's going to transcend the sport. And I'm doing everything possible to make sure that I give you guys the best that Blair the Flair has to offer. Excitement inside and outside the ring. One of the biggest things that happened between me and my development, and the reason why you have these topsy-turvy fights, is because I have big layoffs, which has been really a gift that I thought was a curse, because now people don't really know how good I really am. And that gives that opportunity to create these exciting fights. Nobody knows I'm going to win these fights until they see it. And that's where I want to be. I love to be at that point where I'm the underdog, and we can show the measure of a man.
Now you're in a division that's got some of the best fighters in the sport. It's what you could argue it's the best division in the sport. But these guys don't mix it up with each other. There's the best fighters, but the best fighters aren't fighting the best in this division. How frustrating is that when you see that? And do you say to yourself, I hope they can work this out by the time I get up there and it's my turn, because I don't want to have to play these games with, I can't fight this guy. He's on that side of the street. He's on that side of the street, this side of the street, whatever. Mm-hmm. How frustrating is that when you see this?
Look, man, it's very frustrating. It's so frustrating that Terrence Crawford wants to fight Blair the Flair right now. Because it's so boring. It's just nothing. And the thing is, if Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and Sean Porter don't get together and make something happen, if we don't have these big fights that actually create excitement and drama, if we don't have these fights, once Blair the Flair gets there, they got to be begging for a fight with me. And it's like, why would I fight them? I might as well go up a couple weight classes and fight Canelo. It just don't make no sense, because these people are not fighting each other and not putting on the performances that really need to happen. One thing that everybody bashes Deontay Wilder, and I'm the opposite. I don't bash Deontay Wilder because he actually goes out and finds the very, very toughest competition that he could possibly put himself in, because this other guy wouldn't step in the ring. Okay, we can't get the guy from London, okay. But you know what? Tyson Fury, the next big thing. And then we make it happen. I respect those fighters that are willing to push the envelope. And not only that, he fought him twice. and took a loss, and I respect them for it. I respect them for it, and I hope that that more top elite fighters can put on these great fights that can make these fights happen, because these fights are what helped develop the sport. And if these people in my weight class, if they don't get their act together, Blair Flair is gonna be that guy sooner. Like, it's coming. And then once that happened, I can kind of just X all of them out. I mean, it's so bad now that we have YouTubers making more money than some of these world champions. Like, so if you're not inspirational, if you're not inspiring people's imaginations, what are you doing? So like, and if you're not doing that, you should be putting on a fight. You should be fighting somebody. Why don't we have a Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford right now? The thing is, you don't know what's going to happen. Outside the ring, things happen. That fight was almost like completely gone when Earl Spence got into that car accident. And they're just over here playing games. Oh yeah, it's gonna be more money later. It's gonna be more money later. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. It's not more money later. And I just it's very frustrating, to say the least.
Now you're a big risk taker in that ring, and you take a lot of chances, and it's paid off for you thus far. But you ever say to yourself, as this competition gets tougher and tougher, I'm going to have to probably pull back a little bit and maybe be a little bit more methodical as my career progresses? Do you sit down and kind of think that through when you're mapping out your career?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I take risk in that ring just to create some drama. For the most part, I have complete control in that ring. But there's going to come a time where I'm faced against higher level fighters where I have to be even more reserved and control the fight in a different manner, where there is no going back and forth. I'm winning every single round. Make no mistake, I'm training with some of the top elite fighters. I look to my left, I look to my right, and every person that I'm sparring is either an Olympian or a champion. Everybody's undefeated in my gym. And for me to be the guy that's outboxing everybody, my skills will show come June 19th. And from here on, the whole thing is, how much of the skills do I have to display, to get this guy out? I don't want to show too much, but it's definitely there. And I'm definitely ready for the elite professional fighters. I'm definitely ready for the Terrence Crawfords of the world and the Keith Thurmans and all that stuff. But it's always drama. Like, it's always some problems if you happen to look like you're unbeatable. So it's just one of those things where you kind of got to play.
Gotcha. Talk to me a little bit about your last fight. You had a split decision against Samuel Cote, and it was a difficult fight for you. I know you were deducted a point and everything like that, but what did you do? Did you go back to the drawing board after that fight and say, you know what, it shouldn't have been that tough, or he got me here? What was your thought process after that fight?
There was a couple little technical flaws that I wanted to work on, but I never got the chance to work on it. There was a couple little things that were not working out in my training camp. The professionalism behind the corner and everything, and behind the scenes of the training camps and everything. And I went to the drawing board and I found what I needed. I took myself to somewhere that can get me what I need, which is in the Wildcard gym. They're very professional, and I'm surrounded by the people that I need to develop me into where I need to go. As far as the fight itself, I had complete control over the fight itself. But also I still wanted to give it a little bit more exciting. So I was still somewhat I gave a couple rounds just to make it a little bit exciting. And it might have been a little too close for some of the judges, even though it was a clean slate. But I just wanted to keep it exciting, even in the midst of something like that, whereas though, like, okay, this guy, one, has an incredibly hard head. I'm like, okay, if I keep punching this guy like this, I'm gonna break my head. Like, the Africans have an incredibly strong skull. But yeah, it's been one hell of a roller coaster, you know, going through the experience and getting the necessary experience. The whole thing is that like every fight has to help develop you into the end result, which is a world champion. And I only have, like, at that time only had 13, 14 fights, and now I'm 15 fights in. And it's just, I'm just taking one fight at a time. And every fight I'm fighting against guys that got more experience, more fight experience, probably more amateur experience as well. And I'm doing well for myself. This fight that I'm going into this time in June 19th, he's got a lot of amateur experience. He's got a lot of ring experience. And that is going to help develop me and move me into the next level.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm looking at your record and everything like that. And again, like I said, with the Solomon that you're fighting on June 19th, it's tough because, like, you know, I look at that record and it's like you're not fighting like typical easy guys to just pad a record. You're fighting guys they're difficult fighters. You know what I mean? It's not just you're 15 fights in, but you know, it's the 15 guys you fought. You know, it's not just a padded record. They're tough guys. What's it like been working with at the Wildcard? Because I understand that you moved to LA. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I have a place out here in Malibu, and I still have property in Las Vegas. And yeah, I'm just moving as I go, trying to train as best I can and get whatever I need to develop myself as an elite professional boxer. But yeah, as far as like my fights, that's one thing that like a lot of people don't take in consideration. Like they're like, oh man, he's a little unseasoned. Am I a little unseasoned, or is it just the simple fact that I have a whole lot of layoffs and time off? You know, that like, okay, I might have 15 fights, but what's over the span of what time? You know, and then you think about like this, like, who am I fighting? You know, like, I fought 3 undefeated fighters back to back. You know, and then some. Every single one of these fighters, all the way up until now, a lot of these guys were not easy fights. They weren't easy fighters. I was the guy that was supposed to lose in these fights. And the thing is, we don't know anything about a Terrence Crawford that was supposed to lose in any fight, or a Earl Spence that was supposed to lose in any fight. You know, especially an undefeated fight, like an undefeated fighter that they're fighting less than 15 fights in the game. So, like, I think sooner or later people are going to see that and be more respectable about like my position. But regardless, I take it, and it's fun. I'm having a great time. And it's just been one hell of a roller coaster.
All right, man. On that note, we're going to let you go, Blair. Thank you so much. The most electrifying man in boxing. If you want to catch him on social media, on Instagram at Blair the Flair. Do you have a Twitter at all, or is it just Instagram you usually do?
We're working on Twitter. I think they shut me down on Twitter. I don't know what's going on.
You got barred from Twitter?
No telling, man. Like,
Too much wilding out. Too much wilding out, baby.
I'm worse than Donald Trump.
I know, right? He gets banned from Twitter. You get banned from Twitter. What's going on, man? You know? Real quick before I go, I was real interested in. So, have you ever met Ric Flair, or have you ever talked to him at all?
Well, I got in a conversation with him over the phone.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah. A couple conversations, and it's been great. It's been great. Every once in a while, I get a woo out of nowhere. You know, I'm like, who's this strange old man? Who is this strange old man calling me?
Just calling your phone. Woo!
You don't get the woo back, goddammit. It's my turn.
Woo! 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 There you go. All right, Blair, man. Thank you so much. Good luck on June 19th, okay?
Absolutely. Take care, you guys.
Thanks, man.